Hi everyone, it's Agnieszka from 5 Minute Language. Welcome to my channel and make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the 10 most common grammar mistakes that English learners make. And obviously, I'm going to tell you how to avoid those mistakes. So let's get started. So the first mistake is using the present perfect tense instead of the past simple tense. For example, I have visited London last week, which is incorrect. And it should be, I visited London last week. So often people use the present perfect tense when really they want to use the past simple tense. When you're talking about events in the past that took place at a particular time, make sure you use the past simple. The next mistake that people make often is using less instead of fewer, using those two words incorrectly. So when you're talking about countable nouns, so things that you can count, such as cars or books, you need to use the word fewer, not less. Less is something that you use with uncountable nouns such as water or air. So you can say less water, but you need to say fewer books. So the next mistake is using which when talking about people. So for example, the man which I met. You need to use the word who instead when you're talking about people. So the man who I met, or the woman who works in the bank. The next one is using the word boring instead of bored. So a lot of people say that they were boring. I was really boring when I was watching that film. But really what they want to say is I was really bored. You can use the word boring to describe something that was boring, such as a boring film or a boring book. If you say a person is boring, that means they are not very interesting. They're a bit boring. But if you're talking about yourself and your own feelings about something, you can say that you were bored, that you didn't find something interesting. The next one is the incorrect use of the phrase, I look forward to. So often people say, I look forward to meet you. But the correct way to say it is, I look forward to meeting you. So don't forget the ing at the end. I look forward to seeing you next week. The next one is mixing up since and for. So for example, people might say, I have lived here since 3 years. And that's incorrect. You need to use for. I have lived here for 3 years. So when you're talking about a period of time, you use for. And when you talk about a specific point in the past, you use since. I've lived here since Monday, but I've lived here for 5 days. So the next one is the use of double negatives. For example, I didn't do nothing. Well, the correct way of saying it is I didn't do anything, because you've already got the negative in the didn't, so you don't need another negative in the form of nothing. You need to use anything. I don't know anybody instead of I don't know nobody. Let me just say, this is something that native speakers say all the time. People say, I didn't do nothing. I don't understand nothing. Technically, it's incorrect, but native speakers say that a lot. The next one is omitting articles. Articles are useful in English. In fact, they're necessary. So by articles, I mean a and the. So for example, often people say, I have new car. And Polish speakers, like myself, make that mistake a lot because there are no articles in Polish. But you need to make sure that you learn how to use articles in English because they are in fact necessary. I have a car and I have the car. They're two different things. And then sometimes people use adjectives and adverbs incorrectly. For example, I speak English good. No, that's incorrect. You need to use the adverb well. I speak English well. So make sure that when you mean an adverb, you use an adverb. If you want an adjective to describe a noun, use an adjective. For example, my English is good. That's an adjective that describes English. I speak English well. Well is an adverb which describes how I speak English. I speak English well. And the final one is using comparatives and superlatives incorrectly. So for example, sometimes people might say Russia is more cold than America. In fact, it should be colder. You can also say Russia is the coldest country in the world. Well, it's not, but for example. And sometimes people will say it's the most cold, but that's incorrect. So often we use more and most with long adjectives such as interesting, more interesting, the most interesting. But if the word is shorter, usually it takes a suffix such as colder, coldest. So I hope you found this video interesting and useful. Make sure you subscribe to my channel for more videos about English and other languages, and give this video a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. See you next time. Bye!